With the vote being astonishingly in favor of Molar Outis, here we go. For passives, we grab the very basic loadout of Spy Sinclair and LCB Mersault for extra 20% damage reduction, as well as LCB Gregor and Chef Ryoshu for healing. And obviously, Molar Outis. I will be honest, I was not impressed for the longest time. In a vacuum, she's great. Wrath, Blast and Sloth are all very good sins to have given some ego gifts, as well as dealing blunt damage while only taking normal damage back from it. Discord being great for solo runs, as proven previously by the Echirodia, so nothing really makes sense for me to dislike it. And then I used her skill 1, and for a few hours of trying to get this run going, I just couldn't get my head out of how bad her skill 1 actually is. And why it is a problem for her specifically? Surely I played with other units that have mediocre skill 1s. But for that, let's just go through all of her skills first, while we're getting some juicy ego gifts and leave piles of bodies in our wake. Her skill 2 is really strong, Last Blunt, free coin attack that discards her worst skill available from her skill bar. And when it is discarded, it grants her 1 offense level up. Very solid and strong skill overall. Her skill 3 is insanely strong, Sloth Nuke, that bursts Tremor multiple times, which synergizes with her passive to deal shit ton of damage, with a drawback of discarding a skill in descending order, meaning it prioritizes skill 2, which is not really a negative, but since this is a solo run, I had a lot of situations where I just got stuck with only skill 1s because of it, making this skill really annoying to use, even though, for the most part, I was just unlucky. Her passive makes Tremor Burst deal extra sloth damage, so for once, Tremor actually does something. And her skill 1 is Wrath, single coin slash. That does no damage whatsoever. Clashes alright for a skill 1, and lowers your stagger bar by up to 10 health. This skill is worthless. I think it is the worst skill 1 I have used this far in any of my solo runs, and it says a lot given the track record. Mind you, I probably should have tried to play around with her defend more when I got those hands filled with skill 1, but at the same time, her sin resistances sucks ass for actually staying alive long term in Mirror Dungeon. So who knows? Might have been skill issue, might be that she's not the best for solos. But now with me ranting about her done, let's get back to the run. Across the first floor we found Bloody Gadget, which will increase our damage output. At this point I still haven't realized that this time around I forgot to equip egos. And since we don't have any resource generation gifts, it went unnoticed for way longer than it should have. With our first boss being Proceeding Inquisitors, we had easy time taking turns and beating them when they're not countering. And moving on to floor 2, with Coffee and Cranes as our boss reward. From our first shop we grab Nebulizer, and for some reason I waste cost for Perversion, even though resources we would generate through it are completely useless to us. Yeah, I recorded it at 2 AM, I have no idea what the fuck I was doing here. For passives, we grab LCB Heathcliff and Rodia for extra damage, alongside Molar Yi-Sang, since we can consistently fully activate his passive in later turns of the fight. And extra defense level downs on enemies are always good. As we mow through a Blunt Node and Pekatula Sweep, we managed to grab Barbed Snare for some Rapture support. And is it just me or this floor feels empty? Regardless, our floor 2 boss is Kalendar, and what can I say? Everyone knows this fight. Kill Claydol, hit Big Boy, forget that you can still sacrifice Sinners and almost misclick in the event. Burst was down, move on, shrimple into the point. Oh, also this was the moment I felt stupid, as I realized I had no ego since I wanted to just Ebony Stem the Claydols. So... yeah, we will remedy that immediately after this fight. For our reward, we are getting my new favorite ego gift, next to Greycoat, Eclipse of Scarlet Moss. For a simple reason, it's absurd. Especially with strong hitting last skills. Right now, our skill 2 has practically gotten a weight +2, albeit it's delayed damage, but it does help tremendously. Just go past turn 2 without any worry, making it a free turn for us to get meshed probabilities on turn 3. Alongside fixing our skill issue, we grabbed Think Tank Honglu for extra 20% damage, and LCB Ishmael for some zero-cost conditional Clash power buff. Ashes to Ashes join our collection from the first event node, and right after, I'm yet again completely fucking up by forgetting Sticky Muck event. Simultaneously being very proud and decisive with it at the same time. The speed nerf doesn't matter as we completely obliterate Encorp with our skill 2, but it would be nice to have the ego gift. Instead, the game has some pity on us, and we get a 5% wound clerit, which that works, I guess. By the way, if you didn't know, normal fights have 5% chance of dropping any ego gift, which technically makes a lot of runs possible. From this point onward, I have been very confidently using Ebony Stem with an impeccable persistence, without realizing how low I was with my Pride resources. Thankfully, I was never punished as I am skilled. Floor 3 ends with more Inquisitors and rewards us with not so exciting ego gift selection. However, I did decide to go for Late Bloomer's tattoo as Voodoo Doll is really uninteresting, and we don't have charge for battery. In our next shop, we grab Red Stained Gossipium, since we kinda do have bleed synergies now. But we desperately need a healing ego. There's plenty of bosses that can roadblock us now, if we don't get anything that can reliably restore health for Outis. To our rescue comes Star Luminary, giving us tomorrow's fortune. Late into the run, but hopefully we'll turn a tide. As we go through floor 4, we manage to grab Green Spirit for more Tremor, Grimy Iron Stick for more bleeding synergy, and end up with Skeletal Cramps, since if we can't have healing, we'll have some more damage reduction. Floor 4 boss. I have been dreading at least 3 different bosses that could have ended the run. Thankfully it was Telepole. Now, Telepole by no means is an easy fight in Mirror Dungeon 2 hard mode solos. It has a lot of upfront damage, but as many bosses that are really threatening upfront, they become weaker as we solve their gimmick. And Telepole doesn't really have any gimmick for us this time, as you just break its head, which cancels all of its attack coins, and then just bash the ever-living shit out of it. With Floor 4 done, we're presented selection of, well, 4 gifts. But even though we have Tomorrow's Fortune, we do not get any healing. So we pick up Clear Mirror, Calm Water, for that extra poise buff to our Sunshower ego. This is getting dangerous, as there are at least 2 bosses that are pretty much gonna wall us if we don't get any healing. Knowing my luck and previous boss records, I do not want to gamble 40% chance. We have to find something that will save us. With another hard choice between Special Contract and Sunshower in the shop, I decided to go for Sunshower, as the bosses weak to Special Contract are the ones that we shouldn't struggle against. Finally, we recruited 7th Faust, since we not only have Rapture, but have all 3 attack types to proc it, even though our skill 1 is not desirable. Alongside Faust comes LCB Dawn for extra damage to our Ebony Stem. Our prayers for a healing ego gift has been answered with most obnoxious map layout I have seen in a while. Like, look at this and tell me what the fuck is that? We get a lot of ego gifts, but none of them are of help. And with final shop on the horizon, it's our final stand. And we get nothing. So, we resort to G-Corp Gregor to have anything to help us heal. Now if we go into the boss. And you know how I usually go through the final words and send you off with the enjoy? Yeah, no, fuck that. We have to talk for a moment. I have played this piece of garbage boss for an hour, as there was this hope that I could technically clear it if I got lucky on all the rolls, but all in all, after an hour of playing and being way too low on time before weekly restart, I have manifested a decoy to help us. Introducing Ishi. We need a single breather turn and we can actually pull it off. By no means is it easy that way, but it won't make me reroll for an hour just to have one run that goes past turn 2. Is it a true solo? No. Do I care? Fuck no. With that out of the way, this was Axel. Enjoy.